My mother-in-law said she wanted to downsize and asked to store a few boxes at our place. I said yes. 2 weeks later, a U-Haul pulled up with an entire storage unit and a mattress. She moved into our garage without asking. When I told her to leave, she said, "This is my son's house too." My husband took her side. Then I found out he'd given her $12,000 from our savings to get back on her feet. I took my name off the joint account that same day. She doesn't know yet. Neither does he. I'm 36. My husband Mark is 38. We live in Rocklin, California, just outside Sacramento. We've been married 7 years, no kids, 2 dogs, small house with a 2-car garage, and until recently, we lived a quiet life. I work at the local high school as a secretary in the admin office. Mark's in HVAC. We had a routine. We had peace. Then Jean, my mother-in-law, came crashing in. Let me paint the picture. Jean is not helpless. She plays the role, but she's not. She's sharp, always watching, always calculating. She'll tell you she's struggling while she's wearing $80 perfume and driving a Lexus from 5 years ago. She has this way of making you feel like saying no makes you the bad person. I knew she was manipulative, but I didn't know just how far she'd go. One night she called me. I was folding laundry and watching something dumb on Netflix. Mark was already in bed. "Sweetheart," she said. "I'm thinking of downsizing. I can't handle the house anymore, and I can't afford the taxes. I'm just so overwhelmed. Could I maybe store a few boxes at your place? Just until I figure out my next move?" "A few boxes?" "Sure." I told her it was fine. 2 weeks later, a U-Haul pulls into our driveway. I'm in my robe, holding a cup of coffee. I thought maybe she was helping someone move. Then I saw her. Jean steps out of the passenger side with sunglasses and that little fake smile she does when she's about to screw someone over. 2 guys get out and start unloading. Plastic tubs. Bookcases. Lamps. A mattress. A goddamn mini fridge. "What is this?" I said. She waved me off. "Just the essentials. Don't worry, I'll stay out of your way. I'm just in the garage." I laughed. I thought she was kidding. She wasn't. By noon, the entire garage was filled wall to wall. She had rugs down. Her clothes were hanging up. She plugged in a space heater and a lamp. She even had her Keurig set up next to the washer. When Mark got home, I waited for him to blow up. I thought he'd be shocked. He just stared and said, "It's temporary." I said, "She didn't ask. She just moved in. She has nowhere else to go." I told him she couldn't stay. We weren't set up for that. And that's when she piped up from behind him. "This is my son's house too. You don't make all the decisions." He didn't say a damn word. Just stood there. That night, I cried in the bathroom. I couldn't believe how fast everything was falling apart. And I felt stupid for not seeing it sooner. Over the next 2 weeks, she made herself at home. She'd walk into the house whenever she wanted. She'd use the bathroom, leave her makeup everywhere, leave the toilet seat covered in stray hair. She cooked in my kitchen like she lived there. She left food out. She burned something in the oven once and didn't clean it. I scrubbed it the next day and didn't say a word. I started to feel like I was the one who didn't belong. She'd say things to Mark like, "You look tired, baby. Is she making you do too much? Or maybe you should handle the bills, she's already so busy at her little school job." Always with that fake smile, acting like she cared. Then one morning, Mark left his phone on the table. He was in the shower. It buzzed. Bank of America. $12,000 withdrawal confirmed. I felt sick. I opened the app. Saw it myself. $12,000 pulled out from our joint savings. Mark had moved it into his personal checking. That same day, another transfer went out to someone named Jay Sanders. Gene. When I confronted him that night, I didn't scream. I just said, "Where did the $12,000 go?" He looked like I'd caught him cheating. "She needed help," he said. "She's trying to get back on her feet." "You didn't tell me." "I knew you'd overreact." I just stared at him. That money was ours. We'd been saving for years. He gave her 12 grand without even asking. The next day, I took a personal day. I went to the bank and took my name off the joint savings. What was left, I moved into a new account, mine only. I left $150 in checking, just enough so nothing bounced. I didn't say a word to either of them. And that was just the beginning. They think I'm staying quiet. They think I'm swallowing it. But I'm watching. I'm planning. And when I move, it'll be fast, clean, and they'll never see it coming. It didn't take long for Jean to start acting like the queen of the house. After a month, she stopped pretending it was temporary. She started getting mail delivered to our address. Amazon boxes started piling up with her name on them. One day I saw her unloading a damn air fryer like this was her apartment now. I brought it up to Mark. I said, "She's not even looking for her own place, is she?" "She just needs time," he said, without looking up from his phone. "Stop pushing her." "Time? You gave her 12 grand. That's not a timeline, that's a retirement plan." He didn't even argue anymore. He just shut down. I started keeping notes. Quiet things. Small things. I logged every delivery in a folder. Took photos of her messes, her heater plugged into our overloaded garage outlet, her dirty dishes in the sink. I screenshotted every transfer from our bank records, just in case. I made a spreadsheet. It sounds crazy, but I needed it. I needed to see that I wasn't crazy. Then she did something that made my blood go cold. I came home from work one afternoon, and the dogs were gone. Both of them. I panicked. I ran through the house, out to the backyard, then saw a note on the kitchen table, "Took the dogs to get groomed. They smelled." "You're welcome." Jean, she didn't ask. She didn't tell me where. She just took them. Like they were hers. I called every groomer in town. Found them at a PetSmart 25 minutes away. When I got there, the girl at the counter told me Jean had told them she was the owner. I took my dogs home, shaking. I wanted to scream. That night, I told Mark she needed to go. That was it. "She's my mother," he said. "If you don't like it, maybe you should leave." That was it. I went quiet. I started preparing. I found a storage unit nearby. Rented it in my name. Started slowly moving things. Photo albums, heirlooms from my side of the family, the good dishes my grandma left me. I moved my birth certificate, social security card, and passport to a lockbox at the unit. Next, I went to HR at work. Asked about separating direct deposit. They helped me set up a new account for my paycheck. I told them it was for budgeting. They didn't ask questions. Then came the real twist. I found out Mark had put Jean on our insurance as a dependent. That meant he'd been planning this longer than I thought. That wasn't something you do last minute. That's paperwork. That's intention. I was so angry I couldn't see straight. So I dug deeper. Found old emails on our shared laptop, ones he never deleted. Found messages between him and Jean, weeks before she moved in. "Just be patient. She'll come around. If I can get her to agree to the boxes, the rest will follow. It'll be easier to move you in if she thinks it's her idea." They planned it. He lied to me, and they plotted together to move her in behind my back. That night I couldn't sleep. I laid there next to him in bed, thinking about everything. How I paid half that mortgage. How I cleaned every inch of that house. How I trusted him. And how they thought they'd gotten away with it. They hadn't. Not even close. After reading those emails, I knew they were in it together from the start. That was the part that crushed me the most. Not the money. Not even the invasion of our home. It was the fact that Mark looked me in the eyes for weeks and pretended he was just caught in the middle. He wasn't. He was the driver. I didn't confront him. Not yet. I had something better in mind. I copied the emails, saved them to a hidden flash drive I kept in my glove box. I also printed them. Old school. I didn't want any accidental deletes later. I started printing out more texts, photos, receipts. I built a folder thicker than a divorce packet. Because that's where this was heading. I just wasn't going to walk away quietly. Then something strange happened. Jean got a job. It was part-time at a dental office across town. Reception work. I found out because she bragged about it at dinner one night. Yes, dinner, because apparently she now joined us at the table like she was queen of the damn house. She made it sound like she was doing us a favor. "This will help me get a little breathing room," she said. "Mark, baby, maybe now I can help you too with groceries." I kept my face blank. Mark smiled like she just cured cancer. But that wasn't the twist. The twist came 2 days later, when I saw her typing into our computer in the kitchen. I walked by, and she jumped like she'd been caught. I didn't say anything then, just peeked after she left. She'd logged into Mark's email. At first I thought maybe she was just helping him with something. But then I checked the history. She was forwarding emails. To herself. Stuff from his HR inbox. Health insurance. Retirement account statements. Password resets. She was digging around. And Mark either didn't know, or he let her. It made me sick. I copied those too. Screenshots. Logs. I also started using a voice recorder app on my phone. I left it running when I had conversations with Mark. I left it on the counter when Jean talked to me alone. I caught her saying things like, "She's so dramatic. She's just trying to control everything. Let her leave. You can refinance without her. And worst of all, once we get her out, we'll finally have peace." They wanted me gone. That was the goal. Not to live together. Not to coexist. They wanted to erase me. One night, I waited until Mark was asleep, and I went through his nightstand. Found a folder labeled refinance papers. My name wasn't on them. He was already working on taking my name off the house. I didn't cry. I didn't throw anything. I just stood there in the dark, with that folder in my hands, and I felt my chest go cold. That's when I knew. It wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was war. After I found the refinance papers, I made a decision. I wasn't going to fight to stay in a house where I clearly wasn't wanted. But I wasn't going to leave quietly either. That weekend, while they thought I was out running errands, I went to my storage unit and started moving the last of my personal things. I took my computer, my jewelry, my childhood photo albums, even the crockpot from my mom. Everything I loved, I packed away. They didn't notice. They were too busy planning my exit. That night, I made dinner like everything was normal. I even smiled at Jean when she made one of her little jabs about how some women don't know how to handle a house this size. Mark just laughed. I wanted to throw the plate across the room. But I stayed calm. Because I knew what was coming. The next morning, I made 2 stops. First, the bank. I closed the joint checking account. All the remaining money, just over $3,000, I had moved to my private account the week before. The banker asked if I wanted to notify my husband. I said no. Then I went to a lawyer. I had been sitting on all my evidence, emails, texts, voice recordings, bank statements, photos of the garage, the refinance papers with my name missing. I gave it all to the attorney. I didn't file for divorce that day. Not yet. First, I asked about something else. Can I sell my half of the house? Turns out, in California, if both names are on the deed, and one person tries to refinance or transfer ownership without the other's knowledge, it's considered fraud. And yes, I could absolutely force a sale. That was all I needed to hear. I gave the lawyer the green light. The next few days were weird. I acted normal. I played the part. Jean kept getting more smug. Mark barely looked at me. They thought they'd won. They thought I was broken. But inside, I was counting the hours. 2 weeks later, the paperwork hit. They were served at the same time, Mark at work, Jean at home. I wish I could have seen their faces. Mark called me in a rage. What the hell is this? You're selling the house? No, I said. We are. Together. Just like we bought it. Remember? You're ruining everything. I laughed. I actually laughed. I think you and your mom already handled that. I blocked him after that. He tried calling again. Tried texting. I ignored all of it. I let my lawyer handle every word. Then Jean tried contacting me. Through email. Through Facebook. Even left a voicemail pretending to be nice. Sweetheart, we can work this out. We're family. Don't destroy everything over a misunderstanding. I didn't reply. The house went on the market a month later. The agent was polite but firm. I told her to handle it cleanly, and not to take any calls from Mark or Jean unless I was present. They tried to fight it, of course. Tried to stall. But the law was on my side. Mark couldn't refinance with a half-owner refusing to sign. And Jean? Well, she had no lease. No rights. She was just a guest, an unwanted one. Once the sale went through, I took my half. It wasn't much after fees, but it was clean. And it was mine. I moved out of Rockland the next week. Got a little one-bedroom place in Placerville. Small, quiet, peaceful. Just me and the dogs. No drama. No one treating me like a guest in my own home. I heard from a mutual friend a few months later. Mark and Jean didn't take it well. They ended up having to move out after the sale. He had to crash with a friend. Jean tried to sue me, said I manipulated her son into financial hardship. The judge dismissed it. Turns out, when you try to screw someone over and they keep the receipts, the court doesn't care much about your feelings. Last I heard, they weren't speaking. Mark blamed her for everything. She blamed him. They turned on each other like rats on a sinking ship. As for me? I made a few mistakes. I ignored the red flags. I let things slide for too long. I should have stood up sooner. But I walked away with my money, my dogs, my peace, and their lies exposed for everyone to see. They thought I'd roll over and take it. They were wrong. And now they both know exactly what I'm capable of when I've been pushed too far.